final to say? Start. The Kashmir conflict is a territorial conflict over the Kashmir region, primarily between India and Pakistan, with China playing a third party role. The conflict started after the partition of India in 1947, as both India and Pakistan claimed the entirety of the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with Pakistan recognizing Chinese sovereignty over the Trans-Karakoram Tract and Aksai Chin since 1963. It is a dispute over the region that escalated into 3 wars between India and Pakistan and several other armed skirmish. India controls approximately 53% of the land area of the region, that includes Jammu and Kashmir Valley, most of Ladakh, the Siachen Glacier, and 70% of its population. Pakistan controls approximately 30% of the land area, that includes Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, while China controls the remaining 15% of the land area, that includes the Aksai Chin region, the mostly unhabitable Trans-Karakoram Tract, and part of the Dhamok sector. After the partition of India and a rebellion in the western districts of the state, Pakistani tribal militia invaded Kashmir, leading the Hindu ruler of Jammu and Kashmir to join India and starting the Indo-Pakistani War of 1947, which ended with a UN-mediated ceasefire along a line that was eventually named the Line of Control. After further fighting in the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 and the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971, the Simla Agreement formally established the line of control between the two nations' controlled territories. In 1999, armed conflict between India and Pakistan broke out again in the Kargil War over the Kargil district. Since 1989, Kashmiri protest movements were created to voice Kashmir's disputes and grievances with the Indian government in the Indian-controlled Kashmir Valley, with some Kashmiri separatists in armed conflict with the Indian government based on the demand for self-determination. The 2010 war marked by further unrest erupting within the Kashmir Valley. The Indian government blamed separatists and Lashkar-e-Taiba, a Pakistan-based militant group, for stoking the 2010 protests. The 2016 Kashmir unrest erupted after killing of a Hizbul Mujahideen militant, Burhan Bani, by Indian security forces. Further unrest in the region erupted after the 2019 Pulwama attack. According to scholars, Indian forces have committed many human rights abuses and acts of terror against Kashmiri civilian population, including extrajudicial killing, rape, torture, and enforced disappearances. According to Amnesty International, no member of the Indian military deployed in Jammu and Kashmir has been tried for human rights violations in a civilian court as of June 2015. The Afghan Durrani Empire ruled Kashmir from 1752 until its 1819 conquest by the Sikh Empire under Ranjit Singh. The Raja of Jammu, Gulab Singh, who was a vassal of the Sikh Empire and an influential noble in the Sikh court, sent expeditions to various border kingdoms and ended up encircling Kashmir by 1840. Following the First Anglo-Sikh War 1845 to 1846, Kashmir was ceded under the Treaty of Lahore to the East India Company, which transferred it to Gulab Singh through the Treaty of Amritsar in return for the payment of indemnity owed by the Sikh Empire. Gulab Singh took the title of the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir stub.